If you want the juice now and don't want to watch the squeeze, I understand. What you need to know is that the Raider with an 11 or 12 pound recoil spring with a full-size slot, I imagine compacts would work too, but the boosterless Banish 9K has been flawlessly reliable for 1,000 rounds. If you want more than that, then by all means keep watching. Hey everyone, my name is Rex. Not really, but as far as you're concerned it is, and today we'll be going over a 1,000 round review of the Banish 9K attached to a Fluctuator X. I wanted to give the 9K a proper review because there aren't any on YouTube or the internet as a whole currently. As well, I wanted to doubly test the Raider, as it is known to be a finicky suppressor host. We'll get on to that later, but for being a finicky suppressor host, I would disagree. You just need to be willing to change recoil springs and be willing to commit to the suppressor that you bought for it. Anyway, if you want to know a little bit about me, I'm just a guy who is passionate about shooting as a sport and as a right. Self-defense and firearms should be inalienable rights. It says so in our bill of the same name. But it somehow continues to confuse and be contested by the incompetent and downright malicious. I dabble a little deeper in the rabbit hole, as I believe preparedness is a good practice to keep. I'm working on the fitness part of it right now. As old GT would say, if you're not fit, you're gonna die. That and strategizing and preparing for the modicum of shit-hit-the-fan, disaster, or defense scenarios can help shape you as a man, a good neighbor, and a good Samaritan. Channels like Dirty Civilian, the members of the Nova Group, and Garanthem are all pathways that I've gone down to help me decide what gear is worth buying, what good habits I should start, and things I need to consider for the worst that humanity and Mother Nature has to offer. That long spiel is where the Flux Raider comes in. I currently have an AR and a handgun, but I can only really take the handgun conveniently with me on a day-to-day basis. But a compact PDW like the Flux allows me to fit most of the criteria that I gave for my rifle into a small sling bag that I can have readily available at a moment's notice. The criteria, of course, is to have 4 points of contact, 3 as far as the ATF is concerned, being 2 hands, shoulder, and cheek, or chin in the Flux Raider's case, having a robust aiming solution, which means just better than a pistol dot, like RMR or something like that, a suppressor, white light, and a night vision solution. Right now I don't have that last part yet because stuff is expensive. But eventually I want to get a penumbra with primary arms of new HTX1 dot to put on top, and run a mod button on the pistol grip to activate with my thumb. I think that'd be pretty sick. Speaking of parts though, let's get into that now. So for the build I'm currently running, we'll change it up and start from back to front. Currently we have a pistol brace, but I plan on SBRing this or getting a separate SBR chassis altogether. The overall length of this suppressor and the longest stock is only 18 inches anyway, so it would still work for bag carry. At the back here, we have a gas cap. This thing works wonders for shooting suppressed. It is definitely worth the trade-off of losing your backup irons. It keeps all that stuff from getting in your eyes, and it funnels it all forward, so it is much more pleasant to shoot with. But even if you're worried about having backup irons, with a flathead or a pair of pliers, the gas cap comes off fairly easily anyway, and you don't necessarily need it for the chassis to work. So theoretically, if you absolutely had to, you could take it off in a pinch. But up top here, we have a Holosun ARO Red 2. This is a pretty sweet dot, and I'm saying that in comparison to a 4XT Pro from SIG. I honestly think this thing competes with the Pro at an almost $400 cheaper price tag. And by that, I mean dot clarity, magnifier usage, parallax, durability, glass quality, and night vision performance. It all stacks up. pretty close. If you want more detail on that, watch Brassfax's video on it. My experience with it has almost been one-to-one with his. It's to the point where I'm thinking about selling my 4XT Pro and getting another one for my fixie and making some profit off of the 4XT Pro. My only complaint about the ARO is the battery tray. I know theoretically it is more durable than a side-mounted battery, but needing a unique tool to change the battery is kind of annoying, especially if you forget the tool at home, or, God forbid, you're in a shitty situation and actually need to depend on it. In my opinion, if they want to keep the tray, they should make both screws flatheads, or just make it one big flathead. That way you can use like the tip of the cartridge, or a case rather, or, you know, a coin, or, you know, a flathead, something that's more common than a Torx bit. Anyway, moving on from there, we have the FDE Raider X chassis with a paddle safety instead of the usual square one. More on that later. I have not so pleasant things to say about it. For the slide, we have a full-size P320 slide with no optic cut and a little bit of grip tape on the front. The barrel is a Ballistic Advantage bomber fluted threaded barrel. It's pretty slick, and that's, you know, double meaning, is that it retains oil really well, and it kind of looks cool. It was a good price. Other than that, there's no real particular reason I got it over something like True Precision, or something like that. The trigger in here is a Grey Guns flat face competition trigger kit. This is my favorite trigger in any gun I own, and that's comparing to like my 43X's 4311 trigger from Johnny Glock, or my Geisley SSAE and my Fixie, or my buddy's Apex Glock 47 trigger. It's just, it's wonderful. It doesn't have a super crisp wall, which honestly I've discovered I don't really like super defined walls. They're nice to have, you know, for consistency and if you like prepping triggers. But you know, for this, it's like you're pulling on a cloud. You know, it's a very short trigger pull. You know, it's not like you're pulling along or anything like that. Short trigger pull, short pre-travel and over-travel. It's great. And it's very easy to shoot fast with. You know, I consistently hit 1.4, 1.5 splits with this thing if I'm doing bills or, you know, doubles at distance or something like that. Installing it was a pain in the ass. But it was also my first time messing with a 320 FCU, so don't let that discourage you from doing it if you're interested in it. Really, the only problem with it is the way the trigger shoe interfaces with the trigger bar on the FCU. The newer ones of the the newer ones of the Grey Guns have a unique, like, horseshoe shape around the pin that interfaces the trigger bar with the FCU. That OEM and even earlier versions of this trigger don't have, so you need to install this in a very specific way, and most tutorials on the internet just don't have that, so trying to find a proper tutorial for it was dumb. It took a long time for me to find one and dicking around with it. But eventually I did find one from a YouTube channel called Work the Trigger. Their installation video of the Grey Guns kit, even though his Grey Guns trigger didn't have what I'm talking about, his method of putting it in still worked for me. It was great. Putting the spring in was still annoying, because how he did it was he put the trigger and the trigger bar in the FCU first without attaching the spring, and then he put the spring in last, which putting the spring in, you know, you've got to hook it in the little notch in the back of the FCU, and then you have to like bend, like doing it this way, you have to bend the spring with your fingers and leverage it into the hole on the back of the trigger bar, rather than if you do it originally, you put the spring in first, attach it to the trigger bar, then like kind of turn the trigger bar in a semicircle, and then leverage the trigger into the trigger bar.
240 reload.
It's much easier that way on your fingers, but with this trigger shoe, you just can't. It's impossible.
Terrible.
So, yeah. The only other thing here is the Banish 9K, obviously, and the Armory Craft 12-pound spring. So, for testing, it was kind of a loose structure. At first, I bought a bunch of different brands and bullet weights, but eventually I just kept it to 115 grain, and the brand was just whatever was cheapest when I went to the gun store. I tested about 200 rounds of 124 grain, 750 rounds of 115 grain, and 50 rounds of subsonic 147 grain. For spring weights, I used the 11, 12, and 14-pound springs from Armory Craft. I used all 3 bullet weights on the 11 and 12-pound spring, but I only used 124 grain on the 14-pound spring, which inadvertently, the 124s on the 14-pound spring was the only malfunction I had. Spoilers. So we'll get to that later too. I also tested the suppressor with and without rock set on the threads, on the barrel threads. That currently is the only ongoing issue I'm having with the setup. But yeah, so we will get to me on the field, and then we will come back here.
Just some quick changes. So I put the 12-pound spring back in this, the red spring, and I rock set the suppressor. We'll find out if this becomes a problem later, but right now I tried cranking it really hard. That's what your mom said. And it wasn't coming loose, so I think it'll be fine for shooting, because we were having problems with it unthreading earlier. But I also cleaned the gun, cleaned the suppressor, so we'll see how the 12-pound spring continues to do. All we've got today is some Midwest ammunition, 115 grain. But it is hot as fuck today. It is 90 degrees, feels like 106. And I think it's like 70% humidity, so I'm going to be glistening today, if you can't already see it. Just a real quick aside, the Raider X, the safety on it, so it's got this paddle safety rather than the kind of square one that it used to have. The paddle sucks. It's not good. You can't really, you don't get a ton of leverage on it, and I understand it's probably more comfortable to shoot because you don't have a square on your knuckle of your index finger. I kind of wish they would go back to the old ones, because my buddy has one and it's really freaking nice. This one's getting broken in, so it's not as hard to push, but when I first got it, it was tough. I am a big fan of using this front mag release, tilting the gun to the side so the back mag doesn't fall out. Doing that and then doing that. I'm a big fan of that. It makes you feel good. Oh yeah, one thing I will say for Pro Mags is the mag release does not release as easily with Pro Mags versus OEM Sig Mags. I think it's because the Pro Mags are a little bit skinnier than the OEM Sig Mags, or maybe the mag release cutout in the mag isn't as tight or small. It might be a little oversized. So when you're going for that front paddle reload, I talked about it a little bit earlier in another clip, you really got to push it all the way in. It's not like an OEM mag where you just kind of you can feel that it's ready to break, like you're pushing a normal mag release. The Pro Mags, you're pushing it all the way in and you can't feel any sort of resistance or anything. You just keep going all the way to the end. It's not great. And Pro Mags get stuck, I just had to strip it right there. So yeah, I would not rely on these for duty. They're reliable for range use, I haven't had a malfunction relating to them yet, but I would not recommend them for duty. like it just happened right there again. It'll drop a little bit, and then like you have to strip it out. It's very strange, and it really only happens on slide lock reloads, so I don't know what's going on with that. .237, 5.6 first shot, 181. That first shot's getting faster. My reload is slowing down a little bit. Ooh, I just lied. 0.5 first shot, 212 total, 162 reload. Spicy. So what I'm gonna do is designated target where you start center and then you work out left, go back to center, work out right, go back to center, go back far left, go back to center, go back far right. I think that's what it's called. I don't know. I think I saw it in a T-Rex Arms video before T-Rex Arms became gay. This front mag is literally just for support. Ooh, that was kind of clean. Doing it like cupping it with your thumb and pushing it and rotate. Ooh, actually, hold on. I might be cooking here. So I don't know if you guys can see that, but you take this mag, cup it with your front fingers, come up, put it on the right side, get the front mag in the meat of your thumb, push that release, then turn it and put that second mag in. That's kind of gas, I'm not gonna lie. That's pretty gas. Ooh, that's pretty sweet. And you can do it both ways too. You can just rock it back and forth. That's pretty sweet. All right. That is some knowledge for you. Oh man, I'm goofy. All right, center, left, center, right, center, left, center, right. See if I can even remember. Oh my goodness. No, I'm dumb. One miss, 576, first shot, 5.8. Let's do that again. Okay, that was a little better. 482. One miss again. First shot, 5.3. If you're doing from sling, and it is easier to control if you're doing undeployed shooting. It is much easier to do push-pull, like you're pulling with your backhand, pushing with your front hand. But if you're pushing with your front hand, it can inadvertently drop this front mag because that slide or that mag release is kind of exposed. So you can accidentally activate it. So just something to keep in mind. Be really focused on squeezing your index finger rather than your whole hand. But yeah.
Holy yap, am I right? Anyway, so I believe
well, that was way faster, 179. Man.
Out of all of the ammunition, the only ammo I had any problems with was 124 grains on the 14-pound spring, the green pound spring, the green pound spring, the green 14-pound spring. And even then, it was only one. It was a failure to eject. You will see the clip, or you have already seen the clip. I don't know yet. Yeah, so gun runs great. I will say, if you're concerned about like recoil, suppressors on this do not really change. Specifically this suppressor, a boosterless can would probably have a much different impulse. Just because you have the extra energy exerted by the booster. But with a boosterless can like this, the recoil impulse is almost the same. It's a little more violent just because the slide has very little weight moving it, or like resisting it. But I will say shooting it is just more pleasant because you have a suppressor on it, and you're not having like a 5-inch pistol next to your face firing unsuppressed. That is very loud. So having a suppressor to cut it down is really nice. The Banish 9K is a phenomenal suppressor. The only issue, I will just go into the negatives first. The only issue I'm having with it right now is using it on a pistol. I have not found a great solution for keeping it tight to the barrel. I almost wish that it somehow had taper threads on the inside of it. I don't know if that would work, but I wish it had taper threads on the inside of the mount so it could really tighten up against the barrel. Because right now, even with Rockset, and I put a fairly generous amount of Rockset on, specifically muzzle Rockset. I don't know if there's a difference, to be honest, but that's just the stuff that I found. It still comes loose. Now, it's kind of weird. So it came loose after about 500 rounds, but when I re-tightened it, I can't get it to untighten again. Like, I tightened it just like hand tight, because it only moved a quarter turn, and I couldn't unthread it anymore from how much it had loosened. And I only know it loosened because I have witness marks on it. I couldn't get it to loosen any further from where it was, and when I re-tightened it, I couldn't get it to loosen again. So I don't know what's up with that. And, obviously I put the Rockset on there, when I first put it on there, I let it sit for a day like you're supposed to, and I didn't shoot for a couple days, so it had plenty of time to dry and do its thing. But, yeah, that's currently an ongoing thing, because as you saw in the footage, I lost 0, I think twice, and I haven't shot it since I had to re-tighten it again. So I don't know if my 0 will be fixed, because I've got it tightened again to where the witness marks are, so I don't know if I'll have to re-0 again or what. But yeah, besides that, I will say the can gets really hot. I burned myself on my suppressor one of the first days I had it, because I couldn't feel any heat coming off of it, like with just my hand hovering over it, so I thought it was safe for me to try and re-tighten it, because I noticed it got unthreaded. And no, it was not safe at all. It hurt a lot. And I think it's just because it's a small titanium can. I know a lot of people on the internet say 9mm suppressors don't get that hot. They definitely do. Or those people just don't shoot hardly. Because, doing, 250 rounds in, like, an hour, that can get spicy. Now, it cools off relatively fast, I will say that. But, yeah, this can is great. It sounds good for the size. It actually does sound really good. It's uncomfortable to shoot without ears on. It's not painful, and there's no ringing in your ear. Like, I did about a mag. I think it was like 20 rounds. Unsuppressed. It wasn't like super rapid fire, but it was just a couple bill drills and some doubles. And, no problems. Uncomfortable for sure. It'll have you kind of wincing, but it's nowhere near as loud as it could be for something like the JK Armament CCX. Because that thing stops being effective after like 9 rounds, which is not ideal. So, and this thing works in holsters. I've got a holster right now. I'm fat, so that's why you don't see it in any of my range footage, is because I'm fat and my battle belt doesn't fit me anymore. It doesn't help that I bought that when I was a teenager, so eventually I need to get a new belt, because I cut all the retention off of it like a dumbass, so I can't readjust it. But, yeah, it fits in a holster. It actually, honestly, having a suppressor on the Flux kind of helps reholstering. It goes in, like you have something to guide the Flux down into the holster, because the Flux normally, it's kind of just like a bucket. Like, it really relies on your X300, or whatever weapon light you have. It's kind of just a bucket that you just guess, like, to get it to go back in there. But a suppressor actually gives you like a little bit of a thing that you can use to guide your gun back down in. I guess I'd say final thoughts. The Fluctuator's fucking sweet. The Banish 9K is a fantastic suppressor. I think the people who have problems with it, a lot of them probably just have bias against Silencer Central because of some controversy they got into. I don't know anything about that. I don't really care. The only thing I will say about Silencer Central is they have kind of an arbitrary wait time for their suppressors. Like, my ATF file got approved in like 2 days, but for some reason it took like a month and a half for my suppressor to get shipped to me, which is like, I did not it took forever for my fingerprint kit to get to me in the first place, so they take their sweet ass time. But, you know, it was still easy. I don't know if I'll buy one from them again. I'll probably just buy it from Capital Armory and just skip the middleman. But, yeah, good suppressor. You have to be willing to mess with your gun, obviously, like I said earlier. And I feel like if you're buying a suppressor, if you're actually serious about the suppressor, you have to be willing to make changes for the suppressor. If you're just expecting to throw it on and not have to make any changes, for a rifle, you can kind of get away with that. But with pistols, like, you have to be willing to do some tinkering. And I see too many people give this thing a bad review just because they are unwilling to accept the fact that pistol suppressors are complicated. And being a dutiful gun owner is not just slapping shit on and just hoping it works. And if it doesn't work, I'm gonna yap about it on the internet and not do my due diligence and make sure it was done right. I'm not upset at all with people, lazy people. Yeah. Review over. Thank you for watching. Eventually, I'm going to capture some night vision footage with this thing. Right now, I can't because the range I go to closes at 9 p.m. And in the summer months, it just does not get dark enough to be able to capture night vision footage. So, eventually, I want to capture some night vision footage to show you guys flash reduction, or, you know, flash whatever, because it's titanium, it might be super sparky. But I'll probably put that in a YouTube short or something, and I'll put the link to that in the description whenever I get done with it. I don't know if I'll make any more videos after this, to be completely honest. I just, you know, after seeing all the discourse online about the Banish 9K and seeing how many people have trouble with the 320 with the Raider for suppressing it, I don't understand how many people buy the Flux Raider and then just don't make the attempt to, like, make it work. I just don't understand. Because, like, the Flux Raider is a niche. I guess we're ranting now. The Flux Raider is such a niche product. So it's like, if you're this down the rabbit hole in the gun space, I feel like you should have a certain level of curiosity, or, like, tinkering, willing to tinker to buy this product. And I guess I'm just a minority. Like, I don't know. Anyway, video is now actually done. Hopefully I get night vision footage, and it'll probably be like October. Thank you for watching. You know, I hope you learned something useful. If you made it all the way to the end, I appreciate that. It's not like I'm getting money out of this. You know, I'm not monetized or anything, because, you know, 0 subscribers. But, yeah. I will see you next time.
You know, actually, first, I'm going to yap. First of all, water's important. A lot of times, me and my buddy come to the range with just a monster. Not smart. But also, I'm going to talk about Ready or Not again. So, Ready or Not's hard mode. I was bitching about it in one of the other clips when I was in my flannel. It is not fun in the... It's not hard in the fun way, where, you know, your enemies are, you know, faster, like lightning fast reaction speeds, or, you know, proper like squad tactics or anything like that. They just have aimbot, and they track you through stuff like cover that they really shouldn't be able to see through. Good example is the Mission Carriers of the Vine, the woman cult map. I think they're all women. Specifically that greenhouse section, where you're like in the backyard behind like the that building that's got like the huge like living room, I guess you'd call it, like where it's just like a no wall room. You can't see through it at all. Those windows are so foggy, and you know, there's a bunch of like racks with plants on them. Like the player just can't see through it. Even like if you have a mod for scope zooming, you just can't see through it. And by God, they will fucking see you before you even know that you're there, or before you even get through the fucking greenhouse. But that on the port map, I can't remember what the map is actually called, but it's the docking like port map, the final mission in the base game. It is dark as fuck, and like none of your enemies have night vision, or they hardly even use weapon lights. And you'll be in the most like stealth part where like you're not backlit, you know, you have nods, they don't. There's no lights around you, no light behind you. There's hardly any light in front of you or to your sides. And people from across the map will be able to see you perfectly. And that's not really a hard mode issue per se. I've had that issue in the base game before the update came out. But yeah, that sucks. Especially like if you go on that, I guess it's a lighthouse, I don't know, or like a watchtower kind of thing for like, you know, dispatch to like guide crane operators or whatever. But that tower is pitch black up there, and it's raining, and they just know you're up there. Like it's so stupid. Like you'll be peeking through the windows, and they will have perfect vision of you. It's insane. Yeah, that's kind of just my gripes with it. Enemies are also arbitrarily harder. Like they just arbitrarily take more bullets and ignore non-lethals. Like I've had it several times where I'll have like in single player, I'll have the AI teammate deploy a M320 with stingers in it. I just overloaded this mag. It's easy to do with pro mags to overload them. Don't do it because they just will not strip out of the mag. But you know, I'll deploy like our teammate will deploy a 320 at their feet, and then I will flashbang the room because I don't trust that 320 actually worked. And I'll go into the room, and the dude is just unfazed. Like, and it's not even like I'm taking a long time to enter the room. As soon as the flash goes off after the launcher, we're going in. And the dude will just be standing there like, huh? Oh, you did what to me? Oh, you're gonna die now. Because, you know, it didn't work. Oh, shit. But, yeah. Or, like, beanbags. Like, if you were to try an S rank on hard mode, just don't do it. Beanbags get ignored. Like, one time I tried to do it, just for fun, on the, I think it's Sins of the Father, or no, that's the Raining Hotel map. The one where it's like the veterans held up inside the hotel, and they're upset about, like, the VA or something, where you gotta pick up, like, the 2 sniper rifles. That map specifically, they just, like, I tried to beanbag on that one, and all my guys have beanbags and tasers, and nah. I beanbagged the dude, like one guy 3 times, like to the face. Like it should have been lethal. Like, to be honest, it was within like 15 feet. It should have been lethal. And my buddies, I mean, he had soft armor on, but like my buddies were beanbagging him to the chest, and he just walked it off. And like you could hear it hit him. Like he would be like, oh, oh. Nah, just nothing. Just, you know, the dude with a saw fucking just mowing down the dudes with beanbags. What a stupid situation, by the way. But anyway, I'm sure me and the narration will have more to say about it. I'll probably put it at the end of the video, just because like it's going to be a yap session that honestly, I should probably make it like a YouTube short or something. But there's going to be Ready or Not footage in this video, because the 320 in that game looks almost identical to the one that I have, like the two-tone like FDE frame and slide, and black slide. The suppressor's different. I don't actually know what suppressor's in the game, but oh well. And a T2 on top. This is obviously an arrow, but yeah, same deal. Just real quick, a plea. The devs of Tactical Assault VR, please put the Fluctuator in the game. That would be so fucking sick. I think it would be a perfect addition, especially because we've got a lot of PDWs in the game already, like the MP9, for example. I think it'd be dope, but that's just an aside. Oh, and either make it a primary or give it a holster. I can prove that holsters work for the Flux. Plenty of actual badass dudes can prove that the Flux works on a holster. Make it a secondary. That'd be kind of an interesting addition, because right now we've only got a full auto Glock as the I guess you'd say primary secondary, but